Okay, everybody, looks like we made it to yet another Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a great week and, hanging tough, never give up, and, just keep going forward. I think that is so important, and that's the one thing that is keeping me going is that those who keep going no matter what persevere and they get to the other side. So I hope everyone is enjoying the autumn weather. It's really beautiful outside. You can see here we're at part 4 and getting close to the completion, I would say. Maybe another episode after today we should be done. Off camera I did work a little bit on the background, and I did go ahead and go over with the white and orange mixture, and so kind of created more of a soft blend and got rid of any hard transparents that kind of don't look natural. So I go over with the orange and then that lightens it up, then go over it again and kind of keep going back and forth with that. It's a really good technique to get the look that I'm after. Let's see who is here. What amazing people. JC, how are you? Great to see you all the way from Georgia. How is everything? Color Graphics Roy all the way from New Jersey. Great to see you. And Patty, we have all the way from Illinois. And we have Dwayne all the way from San Luis de Obispo. Go Mustangs. We have Brad Mummery all the way from Manitoba. That's amazing. We have Ryan all the way from Canada. Great to see you, Ryan. And so look at this group here, from JC to Roy to Patty to Brad, Ryan. You guys are all just, guys and girls are all amazing. I'm just so blessed that you're here. Mr. Dwayne is here with all his knowledge. So we'll definitely be learning from Dwayne as well today. So that is cool. Thank you so much. Ryan says she's looking good. I appreciate that. Up on top, for those who... whoa, someone just gave a super chat. Who did that? Mike, how you doing? Thank you so much, my friend, for this super chat right off the bat. I really appreciate you, and you're doing some amazing work. You should see some of the black and white work that Mr. Mike Rushing is doing over in Instagram. Mike, could you write down in the comments what your Instagram is, Mike? And Mike, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for making my life a little bit easier, a lot easier. Thank you for the inspiration, and this really helps the channel a lot. Plus, it inspires me, and sometimes good feelings are hard to come by, but when you guys do that, it always is like a shot in the arm, like a tonic. So thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate that. And I hope to see your Instagram address so people... Okay, everyone who has Instagram, go ahead in the comments there and follow Mike, because he is an amazing artist, and I get a lot of edification looking at his work, so that is cool. All right, so thank you. That was so nice. Hey, Christian, how are you? How's everything going all the way from the Midwest? How's life treating you, sir? I'm so glad you're here, and thank you so much for coming to see me. I appreciate that, Mr. Christian. So, okay, so that is great. What a great group we have today. Just amazing. And Mike, thanks again for that. Really, I appreciate you. And so today, what are we going to do? So what I did was I had this dark hair, but she has a light because she's on the subway, so the light's coming from above. So I have to set it up with airbrush and color, right? So I took white, and the white I used was this stuff right here by Wicked Colors from Createx, and this is the Wicked White. So I did something like 20 drops to like 1 drop of this, and 20 drops of white to 1 drop of orange. Put that in there, maybe even more. You guys see, and I'll show you later just how little bit of orange is in there. And then I went over her hair, and you can see it's white. It has a little bit of blue ship, but we don't really care because we're going to come in with a orangey brown mixture, and we're going to kind of assimilate that into the hair. And I could have went in with brush strokes, but hey, Michael McClung, all the way from Baltimore area, I appreciate you with the super chat. Thank you so much. That is such a big help. I really do thank you. I thank you for the encouragement. Most importantly, I thank you for hanging out with us on this Wednesday night. There's a lot of other things people could do, but you choose to hang out with me, and to me that's, you know, that's golden. And Ryan, thanks for the thumbs up. Michael, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship and your support, and it always lifts me up. It always, you know, just lets me know that this channel has a future, right? God says, don't despise the days of small beginnings, and that's where we are. We're just this small little channel, little engine that could, but I mean, I don't have a lot of people on a live stream, but the people who are here are just like golden. I'd rather have who I have here than a million people on the live stream, and I mean that, Mike, and thank you again for that, and it's great to see you. So this is so cool, and I'm so excited. But yes, that orange and white mixture, that white and little bit of orange mixture really works well to kind of create that kind of opaque, soft look. If we're going, and you know, I'm a big transparent guy, and oh yes, we got the mics going today. That's so true. Mike McClung said, he says 2 mics are better than 1. So true. And so I'm a great transparent guy. My channel has a lot of the India inks that I use with the black India inks. That's all transparent, but this is more of an opaque way of working, and it's more aligned to my oil painting experience, so that's why I like it. So I work definitely differently in color than I do in black and white, but it's not that hard of a technique, and we'll be going over it, you know, in these live streams, and this one especially. So that's really cool. I also want to let you know we're going to do some brush techniques, and I got some good brushes today. I know I had some doozies. I broke out this little sable here. We're going to work with that bad boy right there. And we have some amazing Wicked paints today, so I'm excited. So now the first thing I want to do is let's see if we can come in and kind of bring in that orange color, you know. Patty says, at Mike Rushing, found you on Instagram. Oh, look at that. Mike, look. Patty says she found you on Instagram, and she says, very nice work, Mike. And she's thanking me for recommending you, Mike. So that is so cool. So, and we have our paint strainer. And so what we're going to do is I want to go ahead and mix this color, and we're going to do that again. Remember what we did last week, which worked out really well? Let's see. So I'm going to bring in Critter, right? Because that was a lot of fun, and it's a great learning experience for me as well as you guys, I hope. Okay, so let's come over here. And what I'm going to do is bring in the display. There we go. We're back at Critter. And as you can see, we're going to use the color picker tool, right over here. And I'm going to go to her hair. And I'm going to see that on the circle here, we can see that it is almost a yellowish orange, not a pure orange. Maybe even, if we look at pure saturation, it's probably more of a raw sienna, right? I would say a raw sienna. And what we're going to do is we're going to get raw sienna, and it's almost at full saturation. No, it's not at full saturation. If we go this way, it's very grayed out, right? And we can see that it's also on the light side. So let's make this happen. But I want to do a transparent over that. So I'm not going to have any white. We're just going to do a transparent because we already have the white. So let's see how we're going to do this. Let's take our young lady aside. So we'll come back to, there we go. We're going to take her aside. This right here was me playing with the Createx candies. So I was playing with candies early in the week, so that's exciting. I'm going to start using that at the live stream. So we have this detail yellow ochre, and something tells me that this is going to be pretty important. So, all right, I'll get rid of me. We don't need to see me until later. Let's see, there we go. You just see my hands. So this right up here is my, if you ever want to check out the online courses I'm doing, they're very good, and it's going to really help you when your color work, because it's basically my black and white work, but the black and white work is a foundation. All right, so we have this detail yellow ochre, which is a wicked from Createx. We're going to shake this up. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to 4011 it. A little one-to-one action there. And I'm going to take some of this UVLS Clear 4050 and I'm going to put 10% in. And now I'm going to take my palette knife, because I am an oil painter at heart. And we're going to mix this up, and we're going to really mix it up. We're going to just make it pretty good. Let's see who we have here today. I'm going to... Hey, honey, how are you? Great to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And Ryan says, if anyone works from your iPhone or iPad, he does at times. There's a free app called UDoodle that has a color picker. Oh, that's great. Thanks for that tip. That is so great, Ryan. I appreciate that. Michael is asking anything on the Airbrush. Not yet, but I know this week I'm going to hear from Mr. Badger. I'm actually, if I don't hear from him tomorrow, I'm gonna call him. But thanks for asking. It should be soon there, Mike. So I appreciate you. And Honey says, hello, Tim, Mike, Patty, Roy, Ryan, Michael, Mick, Dwayne, JC. So cool. So that is great. And here we are. So everyone loves Honey, because Honey is very cool. And I appreciate you taking the time. Honey is so busy with her job and everything and her artwork. So for Honey to take time to come to my live stream, I am super thankful. So right there, you can see the consistency. It's pretty watery. And that's kind of what I want, because this is the definition of a glaze, right? And so that is cool. Oh, thank you, Honey, for hanging with us. I appreciate you. Mr. Tone, all the way from Florida. How's it going? So glad you're here. So we have some great. Oh man, Mr. Brad Mummery with the super chat. Thank you, sir. I am so thankful for you and so thankful for your support and friendship over the years. You just don't know, Brad, and for your generosity and always encouraging me. You are a good friend, sir. So just want you to know that, and just I appreciate you, and you guys are better than anything. You make me feel so great. So thank you for that, and thank you for hanging out with us, Brad, all the way from Manitoba, Canada. Just finished his first oil painting. The man does everything. Thank you again. Mr. Air Todd, how are you all the way from San Diego? It's amazing to see you. Doing good, Mr. Tone. So glad you are here. That painting you're doing of the, I believe it's just amazing, of the dream musicians. It's out of this world. Your work is just incredible, and I think your work is just blossoming, Tone. It really is. It's funny how during our most kind of trying times in life, when things aren't perfect, that's when the artwork really comes out, really explodes. Yes, honey, that is so true. Bradley's oil painting is great. And so that's the way I feel, when life gets kind of interesting in a sense. That's when the artwork kind of gets more distilled, right? It's like less distractions. There's like normal distractions, but it just seems our thinking in art gets a little interesting, and the work gets so much better. That's how I feel in my artwork. And Tone, like me, is trying different ways to make money with his art, with his airbrushing, and it's not always easy. So my prayers go out to you, Mr. Tone, to kind of find that breaking the ice moment where the money comes in and you don't have to worry about it. That's what I pray for you, sir. So now I have this in the airbrush, and let's just see. I'm not sure, because we're doing a glaze. It might look terrible, but it's okay if it does. But notice that the glaze always has to be darker than the color you're working on. And you're scumbling, or you're going over with a lighter color. Scumbling has to be a lighter color over a darker color. So let's see. So that's true. Always looking to challenge yourself. That's the way to do it, sir. Dwayne says, Dwayne says he was on a business call. Cool. Those are good calls. Here we go. Okay, so it's a little on the yellow side, but that tells me that maybe we got to come in on the orange side as well, right? So we can put in some of this kind of golden yellow color. And it's looking good, don't get me wrong, it's looking good. But we have to come in, and remember, brown is just a darker orange, right? So we're going to come in with some oranges and browns. But you see how it kind of brings life to that kind of blue, intentional blue shift that I was doing. I recommend, if you're going to do this, is to do this on a test panel or a test piece of paper, with the same material and everything. Maybe have a smaller one going. And I think that's so important to not do too many tests on your own work, which we struggle to get to a certain point. We don't want to do anything. We don't have to worry about disaster, but you never want to invite it, right? That's for sure. And Dwayne says, very good, just got a big commission off another recommendation. Congratulations, Dwayne, that is amazing. Every commission, every painting sale is, to me, is like a license to continue doing what you love, right? It's so important. Oh, Michael says he's going to miss airbrushing this weekend. He's going camping with a group of us. Nice guy. Oh, that is great, Mike. Yeah, you got to live your life. That's okay, you know. Work-life balance, right? So that's going to be great, and I hope the weather's going to be great over there in Maryland. So I'm really glad you get to do that. Just hang out with some good friends and take it easy, right? Leave all the worries and all the things that are preoccupying us aside for a little bit, you know. Ryan says no rules against airbrushing in the wild. I'm sure the compressor will cause a ruckus. So you see how I went over this intentional blue shift, and now it's more of the hair color, and so that's what I did. So that's how I set it up, and that's, you know, kind of attacking the blue shift, not being afraid of it, not doing it intentionally. I did add orange, but not enough orange. So right now we have this really beautiful yellow ochre, detail yellow ochre, very thin. And while I have this color, I'm going to look and see where I could use it. 80s for the weekend. Ah, great music. And Dwayne says a good feeling when they come for recommendations. The best, what is it? The best advertising is a happy customer, right? That is cool. Patty says she looks amazing. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. That really helps. And that's so nice. So I do have this, and we have a gold earring. Maybe I could just kind of glaze in that gold earring a little bit. You know, nothing too... But now I'm going to probably come in with some brown and then maybe some paintbrush techniques to get those little highlights in the hair. So now, when it comes to glazing, I have to have a darker color, just a slightly darker value, right? Because then it's no longer glazing, is a darker color over a lighter color. So now my job is to come over with a slightly darker color, right? So again, I'm going to be looking for this color and see where I can put it. Anywhere in the painting, you know, while I have it in the gun. Back here on the signs, we can put it here and there. Add some interest, right? You want people to go back into the painting, if not for just a few seconds. So you want to add some interest back there. So it's very, very important to do that. So we're not just painting a portrait, we're painting a moment. We're painting, think of it as a one act, one scene play, right? What would you do if you had to set up a play, right? Where would you put her? What would you do to make it interesting? And that's kind of the thought processes we want to have. There's kind of a glow around her here, so I'm going to paint in that glow. A lot of these things are effects that happen with photography, so, you know, we're going to keep that in mind. But still, you know, with the effects of photography, it creates a really nice sense of form. Remember, we see probably more from TV and movies and photographs than we do in real life. So for us to kind of identify with this is kind of natural. All right, let's see if I can add a little bit of yellow to her skin here. And yeah, you can do things like that, right? And see, you know, if I have this yellow, what if I add it to her skin tone? What is it going to do? Let's experiment. It's a little scary to experiment, but don't be afraid to fail. But don't set ourselves up for failure either, right? Make calculated decisions. Ah, thank you so much. Honey says that the depth of the painting is amazing. I so appreciate that, and I appreciate you for the encouraging words and the uplifting. That is so great. So this yellow, while I have it in the gun, I am going to kind of start coming in with this yellow. And you want to know something? It's looking good. The yellow is having a nice effect. Remember, you know, with the face, there's so many colors, but you want to make sure that you're not creating blue shifts. So I want you to make sure that when you're using something like this, that you have the glaze in mind, right? You don't glaze on a darker color. You glaze on a lighter color. And I just kind of came in with the yellow a little bit here, just to add. It actually does. It does give it more life and more body, and she doesn't look like an orange person, right? And a lot of times, you know, we'll have photos that they are orange, and our job is to kind of work against that. JC says, Tim, even with color, you are able to keep your own unique style. It looks great. Oh man, thank you. I appreciate that, you know, and that is so uplifting, JC. And I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And, you know, your work is amazing as well. So thank you for the encouragement. And I love this kind of yellow color, this yellow ochre, and because it is giving some life to her. Now the trick, I feel, is kind of staying away, you know, moving away. So if I'm like, let's say 4 inches away, then those changes will be much slower, much more gradual. If I'm up close, it's for keeps. I'm not ready to play for keeps, right? So that's basically what I'm working on, you know, is just gradual changes. Rick Lotter, all the way from British Columbia, how are you, sir? It's so good to see you. Happy Wednesday, all the way from Canada. We have several Canadians, 3 Canadians in the house so far. That's amazing. Love my Canadian friends. You guys are great ambassadors for your nation, that's for sure. I gotta make a trip. When things get better, I'm gonna travel more. When things get better financially, I'm gonna travel and I'm gonna come see you guys. Like it or not, I'll show up. No, that's not true. Not like it or not, but if I'm invited, I'll come hang, you know. But I definitely want to do some traveling and maybe some classes, you know, at local classes in different parts of the world, you know. I would love to do that. And so now it's the you know, sometimes we kind of stumble on some really nice things, and that's what I'm doing with this yellow ochre. Really is giving life to her, and I don't want to overdo it. I can overdo it. So, all right. So now let's dump this yellow ochre, which I do love this color. You know, I didn't strain the paint. That wasn't good, but it was a brand new bottle of that detail yellow ochre. Where did my, oh, I gotta go get my gallon of milk where I spray. Empty gallon of milk. And let's see, so now we'll just dump this out and spray out the remaining. And now I think we're going to come in with that brownish orange color. And I think that's going to do a lot. But still, with that whole idea of glazing, everybody, it's so... thanks. Patty says I'm invited to the Midwest. I will take you up on that one day. It will be so cool to see you and your husband. You know, you guys seem like amazing, creative people. It'd probably be so much fun to hang out with, You will be so much fun to hang out. I guarantee you would. And so now I'm going to get another cup. I have a lot of them. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to have to buy more soon. So we have this cup. Rick says either his eyes are getting worse or you may be a little out of focus. That could be so. I think your eyes are good. Let's see. Let me see. The power of... I'm going to just autofocus for a sec. Okay, so now we should be in focus. Is that better, Rick? I trust your eyes. Oh, so I'm straining it through these things a friend of mine invented. It's really cool. And it goes right over your airbrush, like so. And it's really neat. And it has like a really thin micron mesh in there, so it works really well, you know. So Rick, is that better? I could probably make her a little bit bigger, and I might do that as well. But as Mr. Ryan told me, when I'm mixing paints to move her aside, so that's great advice. So we'll move our young lady to the side. I got some really cool paintings I'm going to do. I think I have another painting I'm going to do in the subway. So it's going to be really exciting. I may do it in the London subways for our UK people. I think they'll find that pretty cool, you know. Still a bit blurry. Yeah, you know, I'm so sorry about that. I'll make it a little bit bigger when we come back. So, okay, but thanks for that input. That's very important. HD settings on YouTube. Oh, that might help, definitely. That's a good idea. Great idea there, JC. So now what we're going to do is we want that brown... Mr. Dwayne Marshall, thank you for the super chat, my friend. That is so amazing. I really appreciate that, sir. Appreciate you coming and hanging out and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I wouldn't be half as far with this wicked paint journey if it wasn't for you. So I really appreciate that, your friendship and your support, sir. It helps immensely. Emotionally, financially, inspirationally, you guys are just so fantastic to hang out with me on this Wednesday night. So many good stuff out there, so many great YouTube channels, and you guys hanging out with me just inspires me, you know. A lot of times, you know, we always think, you know, there's so many great YouTube channels out there. Why would anyone come here to mine? And you guys are just making me feel like, yeah, maybe there is some really good value in this, you know, in my channel. So thank you for that. I love this color, and Dwayne, once again, your continued support is just amazing. Thank you, sir. And I can't wait to see more of your work. Some of those commissions, I'm sure they're going to be amazing. So here is Wicked Brown. And so remember, we're doing a glaze, so we want to make sure that it's darker than the colors we have, right? So if I'm going to glaze and it's lighter than these colors, then it's not going to work, and that's where you get some weirdness, right? You get some color shifting that you don't want, and it's repair city, right? You're just going to have to repair things. So we're going, and by the way, those who don't know, this is on paper. This is on color line paper, 184 pound. The color is gunmetal, the same I use for my ink paintings. And once I do my underpainting in India ink, I erase the pencil lines, so there's no pencil lines anywhere. And then I put a thin layer of shellac, let that dry for 24 hours. and that's my surface. So really cool surface. The airbrush, you can do as many layers as you want with that. So if anyone has any questions, always email me if you want to know more about the shellac. And Tone says, who do you watch when you watch a live feed? Well, I watched you last week, Tone, and that was amazing. I'm big Steve Leahy, Scott McKay, Mr. Bill Snegan. He's amazing. Just incredible people, you know. So I really, there's so many people out there, you know. It's just incredible. I do like DreadFX, or he's great over there in the UK. Just he knocks me out every time with the work he does. Mr. Dwayne says, you're very welcome, Tim. He'll have to try and remember to take pictures. Ah, yeah, I can't wait. I need some inspiration there, sir. So definitely. So remember that brown is just a dark orange, right? So I'm going to take this brown, and then I'm going to take my, and this is Detail Yellow Ochre. It's a great color that I've used it before. Honey says, forgive me if I go quiet, I'm multitasking. Honey, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you hanging out with me and taking the time of your busy schedule. And you ladies can multitask, and I am always in awe of you women with the multitasking skills. It just blows my mind. I can't speak for all men, but I'm not a multitasker. I know whenever I go on a job interview, they say, can you multitask? And I'm like, not really. Maybe that's why I don't get the job. But honey, thanks for the support. Thank you for the friendship. And thank you so much for your generosity and for hanging out with me on this Wednesday. And for everyone out there hanging out with me on this Wednesday. So I have the brown, and we are going to put a couple of drops, almost, I would say maybe 2 to 3, and then I'm going to 4011 it 1 to 1, and then my friends over at Createx, look at this cool little 4050 bottle. I love it, right? And we're going to shake that up, and we're going to put 10% 4050. So my Createx friends over there, Dennis, let me know that just 10% of the 4050 increases the flowability, increases how it goes through the airbrush, meaning that you would be able to have a little thicker viscosity and still have it go through the airbrush really smoothly. So great advice on that. So definitely going to listen to Mr. Dennis over there. So nice to have connections. And I'll have to tell you, Createx is a great paint company. Everybody knows that. But they're great people, a great group of people. And you know what? When you work with a great group of people, you just want to support their company, right? And that's what I want to do. You know, I really want to support those guys at Createx, guys and girls. Watching a lot of their videos. We're going to be doing some candies. So that's going to be great down the line. We're going to incorporate some candies and, you know, the aniline dye paints. And I've been watching some really great videos on that. Really fantastic over at Createx. Dwayne says 4050 is the stuff. I use the heck out of it. Very cool. Honey says, as often as she can, she will come visit here. Ah, I appreciate that so much. And Honey says, Createx staff had always been so incredible. So very true. You know, we all can't say enough. Now, I want to kind of let this kind of sit a little bit, right? So we're just going to let this sit for just a little bit. And it is a little bit on the dark side, but when we spray it, it's going to be very transparent because it's transparent. So even though like the India inks, like the detail mixture might look dark in the cup, doesn't mean it's going to be dark when we spray it, right? So maybe I'll 4011 it just a tad bit more. I know. And then we're just going to put a little more of our UVLS Clear 4050. They're really chemists over there at Createx. They really take time to really do a lot of experimentation and to see what works, you know. And again, thank you everybody for those super chats. So incredible. See, if I wait a little bit, we can definitely see that it is really dissolving, right? It's really having a chance to melt everything all together. So it's good to wait. Basically, we could wait a little bit longer. I think it's like 10-15 minutes if we wait, according to the chemist at Createx. But what I'm going to do is, that would be a boring live stream if we waited for 15 minutes. But normally I would, but let's go ahead and put a little bit this in there. We have our strainer to help us, right? Let's see how this goes. Great. Okay. And now we're going to go test it on this paper and see how it goes. Hey there, Cheese Grits and NyQuil. Patrick, great to see you, my friend. How are you doing today? Oh man, it's so fantastic. So Patrick and I, on a future project, we're going to be doing a sugar skull. So I'm looking forward to that. Wow, look how beautiful this flows. This is wicked, right? That's what they say in the Boston area. It's so wicked smooth. And it is wicked paint, so it all works out, right? So, okay, bring our lady back. And I think we picked the right color, but we'll see. We'll see, but I do like that mixture with the 40-50. Oh man, Cheese Grits and NyQuil, thank you so much for the extremely generous super chat. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you taking the time, and he is one busy man, Mr. Patrick. He works a lot of hours, and he is an amazing chef and an amazing artist, and we've been working together for a year now, and he's just done some incredible paintings. But thank you so much for your support and making me feel great and inspired with your super chat, with you coming here and hanging out and taking the time and working with me in my classes. So really appreciate you, sir. So 3 cheers for Mr. Patrick all the way in Massachusetts. So that is amazing. Okay, so we have our orange. And what was our orange for? Our orange was basically to come, remember we went darker than the yellow ochre, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be a glaze. So remember, glazing has to be darker. So that's why you can definitely see when we come back and just look at, compare and contrast these two colors that we used. If we were to go black and white right now, we would see that this one is a lighter value than this. So that's why it's so important to keep track of that, right? Michael says, last week he gave a girl one of his paintings because she's been helping him so much. Oh wow, she cried. See, that's the thing. A lot of people might say, you know, what is art? Is it a rip-off, a scam, or whatever? But, you know, art is one of the few things that could make people who aren't normally emotional. And that is incredible. And so, you know, then that's incredibly generous to give a piece of artwork. And that's what made her emotional, because it's so special. Thank you for sharing that, Mike. And Mr. Patrick says, Tim, you are a huge help to all of us wannabes. No, you guys are. That's for sure. Thank you, sir. Patrick says, this one's looking excellent. I appreciate it. You know, honestly, you guys are really always inspiring me when you guys post your artwork. that what you're doing, and my students, when I'm working with you, you guys are just incredible. Notice how wonderful that golden color is, adding this kind of burnt orange color, right? I could have just picked up burnt orange, but I kind of arrived there myself. But Createx does make a really good burnt orange. This is setting me up for the highlights that are going to be there, but really I love the color of her hair. And I'm going to bring this kind of burnt orange color down here. Now some of it I do want to keep that kind of yellowish look, right? So I don't want to go in there and orange up everything, but here and there. And the fact that you're working with opaques and then transparents and several layers, they show through. And when I varnish it, and those of you who love to clear coat, when you guys clear coat, you really start to see all of those colors. And so really you can definitely start to see some of the dimension that we're looking for. I'm a portrait painter by trade, right? That's what I do. And it's funny because airbrush is definitely a whole different ball game. You can take an oil painter, hand them an airbrush. Even if they know how to use the airbrush, the colors, the way to work the color is going to completely blow their mind. It's a whole different way of looking at color and a whole different way of painting. So it's those of you who are airbrush artists and feel you're not real artists, you are, because those so-called quote-unquote real artists, they can't do what you can do, guys. So guys and girls. So you are the real thing. I just want you to know that. And you know what? You kick the butt of the real thing, because you can do what they can't do, Nothing blends and fades the way an airbrush. Yes. And also nothing gets the beautiful hard edge, right? And also, but there's a price to pay, right, Dwayne? Color reacts a whole separate way than other mediums. I mean, a whole separate way. And Mike says, I give it away to keep it. Yes, exactly. That is so true. That is very true. And Honey says, appreciate your encouragement. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. That's for sure. You guys and girls. And so now you can see that coming in with this kind of burnt orange color, now I can start coming into the face. Now I have to be careful. I don't want to go where it's darker. So I have to stay, I have to stay where this color is the darkest color. It's a slippery slope. And just working on the shadow underneath, And Dwayne says he's never done art in any other medium other than airbrush once I picked up. Oh, wow. See, that's the thing. I think you would do great, whenever the inspiration hits you, just know that you have the skills now to do any medium. It's the skill set that's still there, and what you do in airbrush, you can do in any other medium. So this beautiful burnt orange color is doing nice. I'm going to raise away from the surface. I'm going to be about 8 inches, and I'm going to dust over the light areas with this. Now that's just going to be like, just give a little bit of blood underneath her skin, right? And Dwayne says, 40 years of airbrushing. Holy Toledo, that's amazing. That's why you're so excellent, so amazing at it. Cheese Grits and NyQuil says, me either, Dwayne, any other art I do is jewelry or food, very different skills. But it's all connected, right, Patrick? It all comes from that same place. And that's what's cool. I have that art school education, so I've been um, I've been working with different mediums and being, taught by basically every medium out there. Well, not every. There's several I haven't, but more mediums than not, right, in the fine art world. And you come to find that whatever just kind of speaks to you more, that's what you do. And but don't worry, you will one day, right? One day you'll be at the art store, or you'll be at a garage sale, and you'll see a set of oil paints, and you're gonna remember me, and you're gonna be like, man, Tim told me about this, that there's gonna be a day when I'm gonna pick up some oil paints. Mark my words, you're going to hear me, and you're going to say, wow, thanks, Tim, and you're going to pick it up, and you're going to have a great time with it. So just know that day's coming. You know why? Because I'm amazed at your work, and I just would love to see what you would do in that other medium. That it's just an expanded way to express yourself. So again, right here we have some really beautiful lights, but I'm just going to increase my distance, and I'm just going to dust. And how I would do this, let's say when I was working in pencil back in the day, I worked differently in pencil, but I would take like a pencil, and I would kind of go over the whole face. And then I would take some toilet paper, and I would just glaze over everything, and then I would lighten it up and continue doing that. And see, so all my experience really helps, right? It really comes into place. So Tone asked a really cool question. Can you oil paint airbrush? You can. There's no reason you can't. I mean, can you airbrush oil paint? But it is quite deadly, so you definitely would have to have a lot of ventilation. Definitely have one of those really good masks. But I don't think it's really worth it, because oil paint really kind of does everything you want anyway. But so this is what I do sometimes. Sometimes you can work in acrylic underneath it, and you can airbrush, and then you can oil paint over it. So that's an idea. So remember, you could do oil painting over acrylic, but you can't do acrylic over oil painting. So you can airbrush and then oil paint over it. There's no reason you can't do that. So that's cool. So that's something to get the wheels turning there. Mike says 40 years ago when he picked up an airbrush, it was called a paint gun for painting cars. Wow. So we got some real veterans here. That's just amazing. And Patrick said, is Dwayne on Facebook? Very good question. Patrick says, okay, guess we ain't gonna sniff him then. And Dwayne says, kind of to Honey. He has a Facebook, but don't use for anything other than communication. Oh, like IM and stuff. Just going to make sure I'm getting a good flow. And so you see how I'm dusting over everything? I'm kind of creating a glaze over everything. So I kind of like that. And down here too, I'm just going to glaze. And what that's doing is it's creating a real beautiful, and then I'm going to come back maybe with the orange-white mixture a little bit later. But I think next we want to hit some of these darks and some of these transition tones in here. But she's starting to come together, so we're happy about that. And so basically it's just bringing it all together. Now right here she has this dark, so here is her orbicularis oris that comes around and it kind of pushes in. her mental fat compartment, which is on the mentalis. So you'll see that a lot. Right under the lip is shadow. And so let's see. So now what we're going to do, we got to be careful because this is lighter. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be very deliberate with my application here. There we go. I think that's working, but we want to either extend this dark here or lighten it up. So we're going to decide. But one of the things is that 4050 is really melting that paint and it's giving me an amazing paint flow. It feels like my India inks right now. So the wickets are really great. They are not as easygoing as the illustration line, but you know what? The look about them is really, really second to none. They really have a fine art look to them, and that I love. I really do. I'm quite in love with what you can do with these wicked paints. And you know, the colors are just amazing too. And Honey says, where can we see some of Dwayne's paintings? Cool, yes. So I'm liking it, but I want to come a little bit darker. So our goal is to come just a little bit darker. So guys, here's a good question. It will be a good question for you all and a good question for me is when at the end of the night when you have extra paint and what do you do with it? Because you know it's not going to be ready for the next day or it's not going to be good the next day. What are some of the ways that you kind of discard it and throw it away where, you know, animals don't get into the trash during trash night and eat it or anything? What are some ways that you destroy it? So that's a great question I want to pose for you all out there. And if you're seeing this on record after the live stream, just put a note in the description. I'd love to hear. All right. So right now, we lighten it up. I want you to see what's going on with her face and how the colors are a little bit different. See how there's a lot of layers going on with the colors? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking, and you see the greenish tones here, and we have this, you know, this kind of rosy color here, and, you know, there's a lot of the kind of yellow ochre kind of makes an appearance. So that's what we're really looking for, is that variation of color, right? Roy says, put it in paint cups. Okay, that's a great idea. Perfect. You know the ones with the lids, Roy? And Michael says, mine is a little bit much. Mine is so little much left that you just leave it in the cup and it just dries up. Okay, that's cool. Very good. And so those are some very good suggestions already. So Tone says sometimes he adds a little extra reducer and it lasts till the next day. Oh, cool. Great idea. That's fantastic. So some great ideas already. So I appreciate you all. And so now we want to go darker than this, right? Because we're still glazing, but we have to go darker than this over here. And I kind of like this kind of dreamy look right now. Let's see if it's, there we go. And just lighten it just a bit. And we'll zoom out. So now we're going a little darker than this. So we're going to move this aside. And I'll show you in Krita how it just, it's just a little bit darker, right? It's not that much darker, and then pretty much it's coming from the same color, right? So I'm going to go back into Krita, and how are we going to find the dark that's right underneath This is the mental fat compartment, and right around her mouth is the orbicularis oris muscle, like a rubber band going around her mouth. And so we're looking for this dark, so we're going to get our color picker tool. And you can see that's the color. And with this, it's a little more interesting because when I did that, let's go again. It's actually, I'm not going to go with this dark. I'm going to go with here. This is, I already have this darkest dark color. So I want to go with this. And it's telling me almost like a naphthol red or a carmine red. And so let's go ahead and look at it in the world of Createx here. So I'm thinking detail scarlet. And notice that right here is full saturation, right about here. So it's on full saturation, and the value is a mid-tone, right? Maybe a little bit darker. So we're going to kind of desaturate this a little bit, not halfway, but almost halfway. And then we are going to, so we come up here, so we know like right here to black, so we add some black to it. And then we're going to add either it's complementary or gray. So let's see, we want to keep it transparent. So we're going to stay away from white. That's important. So let's remember, we want to stay away from white because if it's a glaze, it won't work. You don't glaze opaques, right? So let's see. I'm going to leave that and come back here. I'm going to start with this color. And I'm going to get another cup. And let me see what great conversation I missed out there. Let's see. Oh, JC says label and store them in HDPE bottles. Thank you, sir. That is a great idea. Thank you so much, JC. I appreciate you. Oh, good night. Have a great night, Mr. JC. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I hope to see you real soon. And Dwayne, Dwayne says, I don't think I've taken a picture of any of his works. Ryan says, sadly, he must depart. Can't wait to see how this turns out. Ryan and JC, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate you. I really hope and pray your week goes very well. And I will talk to you all so soon. So now we're going to use this one, the Detail Scarlet. It's kind of counterproductive, counterintuitive, right? I think I would have just darkened this color, but I want to use the color theory, right? Because we don't want our paintings to look, how do you say? Just going to put a couple of drops in here. And again, so we don't want to use black, and we don't want to use white, right? Because that'll make it an opaque. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add some Detail Smoke Black, and that is a very transparent black, and I just love it. It's just an amazing color, and it's wicked, of course, and I just have to locate it. It's behind something. That's what I always say, because that's where it usually is. So I think it's over here on this area. I got Wicked Black. I got Violet. Wow, usually I have it front and center because I use it so much. This is a color I use a lot, the Detail Flesh Tone. Really recommend that. Flying Colors. I know it's going to be right in, we got Detail Black. We have, I should look for a very lightweight bottle because I use it so much. Okay, so it's not here. There it is. It was on my table. There we go. Okay, detail smoked black. Going to add some of this. We're going to see. It might be really strong. We're not sure. Let's 40-11 it. I like to do 1-to-1 40-11 to start. Let's go ahead and 40-50 it. Little 10% 40-50 as you go. For that beautiful airflow. And let's see. So that really kicked the butt of this red, but I think we're in the right ballpark. Because now, remember, it has to be a darker value than what we had, right? Otherwise it won't work. So, but I'm going to add a little bit of a green because we want to, so what we want to do is we want to gray it down without using gray, right? We use the black to make a tint of it to get it to the value we want, but we want to use a nice green. So, and so we want to use a transparent, so we're looking for a nice transparent green. And let's see. We have a phthalo green, and that might be what we're looking for. Here we go. Wicked phthalo green. I think that will do the trick. It's dark, so it might darken the value a little bit, but we'll check. Phthalo green I use a lot. The only thing is phthalo green, when you're making leaves and stuff, it kind of is unnatural. So I'm going to put 2 drops of this, and we're going to see what it does. It should neutralize our green, our red. We want it even more neutral. So why don't we just put the gray in? Because gray has white, so we can't do it and maintain the transparency. 2 more shots. That's looking really darn good. But you know what? I kind of want it more orangey, right? Because of the contacts, right? Of where it is. So again, you're gonna follow these programs that kind of give you the ballpark of where you want, but then you have to use the way that you see things, your rods and cones that are in your eyes, right? So we're going to add our little bit of orange here. And the wicked orange is not an opaque, it's a transparent. So let's see what this does. Wow, we can really see just how dark that is. I'm going to add a little bit of our brown. So you're a little bit of a scientist doing it exactly, and you're a little bit of like a mad scientist and kind of making weird concoctions and hope it doesn't explode. Here's a funny story. So the color Prussian blue was done by a chemist in the late 1700s. And what happened was he was trying to make red. And he added these colors, these chemicals. He went to bed, and when he woke up, it was blue. And that was so successful because blue was so expensive beforehand. And so you see how right now that's becoming the color I want it. But I'm going to add just a little bit more of, let's go nuts and add a little bit of our yellow ochre. We'll go to the loony bin together. Right, Patrick? And I'll be right with the comments. I'm kind of in the midst of madness right now. Let's see if I could move the... So it's kind of a bizarre, kind of weird color. It is a dead kind of brown, so let's add one more drop of red because I want it to have a little bit of life. It's her skin, for crying out loud, right? There we go. A little bit more life. So we arrived at that color, but Critter kind of helped us along, right? Kind of gave us a kind of a nudge, a hint, and that's what we want. We need the nudges and the hints. I don't know about you all, but I do. I need that. Okay, so remember we're gonna have to 4011 a little bit because we put some in. 4011, little tiny bit more of 4050. Now this is for the next darker glaze, right? We're glazing. We're airbrush artists, but thinking like oil painters a little bit. Let's borrow from them when we're when we're airbrushing, just like I borrow from the airbrush artists when I am oil painting. All is fair in love and art and war. That's what they say. Okay, so now we have this beautiful color in here. Let's dump it out. And I'm going to get a fresh strainer. And let me go get a fresh strainer. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna just run some water through my airbrush for a sec, just to kind of make sure that there's nothing in there. So once you go darker with this, you're not going to be able to go with that lighter color over it because you won't be glazing. Let's see. Okay, so we have our paint strainer, and we're going to go ahead and put that right in. There we go, and you can see there's little guys in there, little chunkies in there, so it's good that we do strain. So strain your paint, even though we don't want to, or we want to tempt fate and get away with it, we definitely need to. It's just going to make for a better time for us. It's one of those necessary evils. Okay, so, moment of truth. Wow, it's almost the same exact color of the candy that I was playing with the other day. Let's zoom in here. Focus, I should say. There we go. Okay, see, and the flow is just so beautiful. That 40-50 that Dennis said really works wonders. So I put this right under the cup there, and then I'm just going to put this here. And now we're going to glaze some darker colors, and we'll see how it goes, right? Let me see what I missed here. Let's see. Dwayne says, I don't think, Mike Rushing says, do you plan on ever doing workshops in person? I would love to, definitely. It would be a lot of fun. So 2024, I can definitely see that happening when I get a little more established, definitely, my friend. Established with where my studio is and everything. So thanks for that, Mike. And Michael McClung says, what about the yellow? Uh, Not sure. Uh, Expound on that, Mr. Michael. And Patrick says he don't give an F. Let's go. Oh, let's go to the boony. Let's go to let's loony bin together, right? Cheese grits and Nyquil. Dwayne says when he first started airbrushing, he couldn't afford all those fancy colors, so stuck with the primaries and learned to mix. Yeah, that'll definitely do it, right? And those were mostly decanted rattle cans. Oh my goodness. And Cheese Grits is laughing. And Sans, how are you? 1024, it's great to see you. He says, hi Timothy, what computer program are you using when you sample the colors to match? Oh, so this is called Krita, Krita. It's a free program, and it's really good. So it's very similar to Corel Painter, but it's free. And it's really geared towards artists. So I think you'll love it. So that's krita.org. And check it out. If you have any questions, just, send me an email. It's good to see you, Sans. And, oh, Sans is a Krita user. Oh, that's great. Thanks. That's great to see you. Oh, Sans is saying Tim is a Krita user. Oh, okay. So that's cool. Yeah, and if you have any questions, I'm thinking of doing a video, maybe a course on using Krita just for artists where you don't need all the bells and whistles, right? And so the program is great. You'll be converted, Sans, because it's free and it's a great community out there. So let me know if you need any help with that. And yeah, definitely. I'd love to get a great big steak and some of the now. Patrick is an amazing chef, guys. I am seeing that. Let me see if I'm getting. Okay, now it's a little bit. It does get a little bit on the blurry side. So thanks for that, Rick. So I'm working on that. And Cheese Grit says, whatever you want, steak, veggies, chicken. That's so cool. That is cool. I will take you up on that. That's for certain. So we have this dark color in our airbrush. So now we go, so the power of glazing basically has to do with just going successively darker, right? Over lighter, more opaque colors. So, and that's what I learned in my painting days at the National Academy School of Fine Arts with Harvey Dinnerstein, who was my mentor and my most influential teacher. He's no longer with us. We lost him last year. I think that's one of the reasons why we lost him, and I'm going back into oil painting, and I've been oil painting for the past year almost. And you kind of have that. You kind of owe it to your teachers who kind of put themselves into your development, right? They really put themselves in there. So I was with Harvey for almost 4 years at the National Academy School of Fine Arts, and he was tough on me. He was rough on me. He let me have it when I needed to have, I needed a good lump, figuratively, of course, but he let me have it because there were times when I was feeling too big for my own bridges. I thought I was too good to listen to him, or I kind of went in my own direction too early. But yeah, I don't regret the years that I studied with Harvey, because it was influential in being the artist I am today. And so that's important. Oh, Shine Customs, Travis, how are you all the way from Minneapolis area? He says, looks beautiful, Tim. By the way, I'm so excited. House of Color asked you to paint a piece for SEMA. That's incredible. All right. So House of Color asked Travis to do a piece for us at SEMA and donating a World War II helmet for charity. Congratulations. Patrick says he got to run. See you soon. Don't work too hard, my friend. Always a pleasure. Look forward to hanging out online with you this week, Patrick. And thank you so much for your super chat. Very generous and very inspirational. Thank you, sir. You're amazing. And so that is so cool. So I love to hear that. And I love to hear the success of our Inkflinger community members, you know? And that's what it's all, not what it's all about, but it's pushing each other and being excited when, you know, others have success. To be totally like down, like that is just so great. So now I'm coming in with this darker color, and you see how we were able to increase that, right? And that worked. I'm going to go ahead and put, bear with me, I'm going to put my my painting on the big screen. I'm going to go YouTube on a big screen. I'll be right back. I just want to see. I can still talk to you all while I'm doing this, but going into YouTube right now. So I think it's blurry. I don't know. I just got to make sure that it's not blurry. So that would stink if that was the case. But at least I could fix it. So I'm going to mute it, and then I'm going to go to YouTube, and we are going to, okay, so there we are. It's a little bit on the blurry side, but it basically has to do with the connection. Sometimes when the connection is not like 100, it kind of is on the blurry side, but yeah, it looks okay. It's not perfect, but it's nothing on my mechanics here, so there's nothing I can do for that. But let's continue. I always want to make sure, if you guys see anything that's a little off, always let me know. I'm always happy to try and fix stuff. Let's see. I'm going to use my stencil that we made. We are getting close. Another week or two, we should be done. Now remember, this is a very complicated painting, right? Very complicated with the background and everything. So it might take altogether maybe 6 episodes. Right now we're in episode 4, so we're making good time. What do you all think? The one thing I do see that's quite interesting is that the delay is not as long as it usually is, which is nice. Maybe it's this way? Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. And then we'll put one over here. And then I just want to get this hard edge since I have this dark. But it was pretty cool how we're able to find that. Now, it would work with Corel Sans. It will work with Photoshop. You know, as long as you have that triangle, it works really well. So let's go ahead and let's make the dark underneath her chin a little bit separated. I want her face to come forward and her neck to go back a little bit. So you might ask, so Tim, why do you only paint portraits? I can paint anything, but why do I like portraits and why do I mostly paint women, right? I think women are the most beautiful things, people, amazing, I wouldn't say things, the most beautiful people that God created. So I just love that. And there's something about, doing a portrait of somebody, you're freezing them in time, right? And it's just so amazing I feel when I paint a person that I get to know them a little bit. And I know that's weird to say, but I do feel like I do know that person just a little bit more than if I didn't paint them. Especially like when I'm doing portraits of a loved one or something, maybe they're not alive anymore. It's a chance to get to know somebody that isn't here anymore. And it's a great feeling, it really is. And Shine says, Travis says, thank you, Dwayne and Cheese Grits. Just love all this art stuff. Beautiful people and creative minds. Yeah, great work, my friend. Portraits are his favorite too, Travis says. He can paint skulls and weird stuff, but nailing a portrait is very difficult and he loves doing them. Tim, you're a master portrait painter. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So much different now, with the advent of all the different computer tools out there. So it's an exciting time for us artists. A lot of people can say that AI is the death of artists. No, it's actually, if we embrace it, we can do some amazing things. We could use it to our advantage, right? And so that's exciting. So you see how I was able to, now we're going to assimilate some of the darks into her hair. Now we may have to go even darker than we originally planned, but we'll see. There we go. Okay, so love what's happening. Maybe just a little bit more. I want to fade it out a little bit. This orbicularis oris here. Just fade this out just a little bit. Now it did go a little bit dark, but that's okay. I may erase it a little bit. Let me make sure I'm still getting good flow. Okay, we are. Not bad. I'm going a little darker there because I want to accentuate this dark a little bit, so it's not bad, It's not going to be perfect. We're not photorealists. We're not trying to be. We're just trying to do the best job we can. Make sure we're getting that beautiful flow. Sometimes tip dry can impede your flow. Beautiful flow. Okay. So let's there we go. Work on a little bit of her eyelashes on the bottom lip there. Bottom eyelid. And we'll assimilate some of the darks going from her hair into some of the darks here. This dark hair coming down. Sideburns, I guess. Not really sideburns, but women don't have sideburns. Just kind of soften this edge here. Beautiful. See how coming in with this dark is really is kind of bringing the midtones alive. More life to the midtones. Life to the midtones. So cool. So one of the things that are interesting I want to share with you all today is I've been learning more about the abstract expressionists. And maybe I'll talk about that. I know we're all airbrush artists here, but you know, all different artists have something to teach us. And the abstract expressionists, they really have something to teach us about the use of color. So I'm going to add some of this dark brown into the yellow. Kind of give it a little more life here. Kind of made it kind of radioactive a little bit. I may calm that down. I will calm that down later. So right here we have this dark, but they worked with color and how to place color next to other colors and working on edges. Remember, the paintings were just shapes, but they only had his shapes, right? So, and that's great that they can make art from just shapes, from squares or rectangles or pink splotches, right? So they had kind of a more difficult kind of job to do. And so that's why I admire them, A, but you always ask, you know, what can somebody like Mark Rothko or somebody like Picasso or Jackson Pollock, what can they teach? So we're dealing with shapes. So we have the added thing that we have representational images that we can do, but we can also put, let's say, this color next to here, or maybe move her over to this object or something like that. So we have a lot to learn on composition. Where do we place things? What do we make hard edge? What do we make soft edge, right? So there are things to learn from the abstract painters. And yes, we're not abstract painters, but that's okay. Not everybody is. And not everybody's a realist. But we definitely can learn from each other. An abstract painter can learn about edges and, you know, edge control and quality of light and the way that we do composition and stuff like that. So there's more to be learned from each other, you know, the realist and the abstract, than being against one another. So next time, if you know, get a chance to see a Mark Rothko, now bad abstract is bad abstract, right? But you have a chance to see good abstract painting. You know, we just got to ask ourselves, what can we learn from them? There we go. So you see how now her hair is kind of assimilating a little bit more to her face. And we're darkening the darks, and that is really giving us a lot of volume now. She's coming forward a lot more. And that's it. She's the star, right? She's the star of the painting, of this one-act play, right? So we got to make sure that we do that. And one of the things that Harvey said to me, which I'll impart to you all, when painting a portrait, you definitely want to figure out what makes this person special, right? What are some of the characteristics? Like, you ever see the people who are doing the caricatures where they make the, you know, maybe they have a good smile, they make the smile really big, or they have small eyes and they make the eyes really small. But what Harvey was saying is, try and find the humanity in that person. What makes them special? And accentuate that, not to the point of a caricature, but to really embrace what makes them special. And you know what? For those of you who paint skulls, I challenge you guys to, you know, maybe find a realistic photo of a skull and really kind of visualize and look for what made that skull, that particular person who lived with that skull their whole life. What is it about? What are some of the characteristics? I think that would be really cool, and definitely would separate you from other artists who are doing similar subject matter. Whoa, that's not good. It's making really weird noises. I'm going to try it with this, with the freehand shield. I want to accentuate this dark. And this is that red color that we found in Krita. So you see how hitting this dark, I create that really super hard edge, and now bringing her more and more forward, right? And her eyebrows are a little bit darker, so let's make that happen. Not throughout, just bits and pieces. But really the 40-50 and the 40-11 is really making this paint sing on the airbrush, so that is cool. So my teacher Harvey Dinnerstein was a coined a phrase of a social realist, so basically having to do with everyday life in New York City mostly. He painted, it's kind of like an homage to Harvey because he did a lot of paintings in the subways of New York. So in a sense, I'm talking about Harvey, and I just realized what an homage this painting is to Harvey. And it's great, I mean, I had such a, and a lot of times, in life, I could have went into business, I could have went into architecture, and I could have made a lot of money in this life. And a lot of times, some days when you're eating tuna fish for the 4th day of the week or something like that, and you kind of look back at your life and say, wow, I could have just continued and went for the money. But then again, I would never have studied with Harvey. And I never would have been painting anything like this. And I wouldn't have met the amazing people that I see here today. So I wouldn't trade it for $1 million. I wouldn't trade it for a huge house. So then I realized that I'm not missing out. If I would have went the other direction, then I would have missed out. So it's good to, really take stock of things and know that if you did go a different route, then, chances are, you would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and you don't want to do that. And things happen for a reason. Todd, no problem. I'm going to send that out to you tomorrow. You'll get a tracking number. So Todd, always great to see you, my friend. There's some darks right here. Now, it's a little bit on the red side, but that's part of bringing more life into your artwork, right? Maybe a dark brown would have been perfect, but maybe a dark red will create some vibrations, and that's where the abstract expressionist can kind of help us, right? So let me zoom in a little bit and see what kind of dynamic colors we're getting. So I'm really liking this, honestly. Let me go ahead and focus, and then we'll zoom in once more. So see the edges, right? And you see how we're not just using dark brown or variations of orange. And I think that's important. I think that is something that creates more interest, and also, we're not slaves to the photo, we are creating artwork, and that's different, And let's see, so Travis says, Tim, you rock on painting on canvas or panels. Have you ever considered painting on motorcycle parts or helmets? I bet you would sell lots of art on different parts. I would love to. If anyone ever wants to take me under their wing, all you custom painters out there. I would love to learn. So definitely let me know. Uh, Definitely. Uh, the Badger Patriot is working great, by the way. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I was working with the Extreme Patriot arrow that I sell, and I was wondering how I was going to handle the Wicked. And just like anything else, the airbrush and the paint, you got to work together. You can't just you know use it the same way I do with the India inks and Wicked. You gotta adjust, but it really is holding up, and thank you for that. And Tone says your talent will get you in rooms that you wouldn't have access to any other way. Agree with you to that point. That's a Bible verse that I believe that you will be something to the point where your gifts will, of course I'm paraphrasing, your gifts will bring you before kings. And that's amazing, that we all are artists and we can do things that such a small percentage of the people in the world can do. And I think that's a real plus, right? That's really important. So uh, definitely, I do want to do a fender, not a fender, but a gas tank or a hockey helmet. Do any of you guys have a idea of how I would get my hands on a hockey helmet, or maybe something like that? So uh, I know how to use the Wicked. I think I'm proficient with the Wicked, the illustration. I would have someone else clear coat it. I wouldn't do it myself, but I would love to get into that. It would be a way to make money and a little bit of financial freedom, and also expand my art to other areas, right? Motorcycles and cars. That would be amazing. So I know, Dwayne, any suggestions? Shine, Travis, any suggestions on that? Please let me know. What would I do to take what I have here and move it over into the custom painting? At a junkyard. Thanks, Tone. That's a great idea. Yes, that is an amazing idea. Okay, so now we're going to move in with this. This is a red color. So if I try to bring in some hair here, it would not be successful. But you know what? Let's try. See, but it is translating as a brown, so that's cool. So I can always go over it, right? Just gonna have the hair follow her shoulder here. And you see just that little thing, what that did? It kind of creates her, we can see her body now. I love it. Gotta lower that air pressure a little bit. So I really enjoyed the live stream today so far. Because it's gone so fast, This went, we're at 11:13 now. We have 15 more minutes, but it's really gone far. One of the things I would do differently, I'm going to fix it, of course, but coming in with her nostrils, I probably would have come in with a much lighter orange there, just to give more life to that. And I'll get rid of this little orange line. So those are two things. Maybe come in more of an orange-red color between her lips as opposed to that dead dark color, right? Some more of this color right here, and kind of bring that into the crease between the two lips. But just super enjoying this painting, because it is an homage to my teacher, Harvey Dinnerstein, right? And I didn't realize it until now. Maybe one day one of my students will do that, I might not be here anymore, and they wouldn't realize it, but they're painting something that they're super influenced by me. Now I'm doing the depressor anguli oris, that muscle that's coming down. And those who have taken courses with me, you know how important it is to know these muscles. Just coming in a little bit there. So your darks, you want to have as much life into those darks as possible. And that's my oil painting life coming in. And so you want to make sure that you vary your colors, and you want to make sure that you have life in those colors, right? So especially in the shadows. And oh, Dwayne says you can also put out a lookout on Marketplace. Thank you, sir. That's great. What about hockey helmets? Have you guys done hockey helmets out there? She's coming forward a little bit, and that's great. That's what we want. We want her coming forward, and we want that excellent idea of the blurred out background to push back. So we're influenced heavily by photographs, but photographs are not the end all and be all. Put some life back there, just a little bit, right? There's a little bit of life back there in that brown. So now I have this brown in my airbrush, and let's see where we can use it. Now we got to make sure. So tip dry is going to make you have an erratic spray. So I just use my fingernail, and then I blow it out, right? Do a blowout off to the side, of course, and then make sure not 100, but it's still good. Let's see. This part of the hair may be for more brush techniques, paintbrush techniques, but I can establish some of it here. Because remember, right? We don't want to forget that where this dark brown here is a transparent, so it's not going to cover. Now it will cover if I keep going over it over and over again. Yeah, eventually it will cover. But this is glazing, right? So don't do with a transparent that you need an opaque to do. And I'm going to be discussing, you know, when to use a lot during these live streams, when to use an opaque and when to use a transparent. So these little errant hairs, they're very transparent, so that is definitely, these are definitely best to use transparents. Just some wispy hairs here and there. But we'll maybe do some brush techniques with that. Let's see. Why not, right? Let's see. Let's make this happen. Well, let's try and make this happen. Let's see. Now remember, this is a transparent, so we're going to see if we can begin some transparent things going on here. I'm going to put paper here because we're still doing a dry brush technique. They're super transparent, you know. Here's some nice darks here. Nope, we're going to stick with this transparent. Right here we have a nice little hair coming down like right there. And you know, nothing's written in stone, right? If you don't like it, you can always adjust. But it's funny with hairs, you know, it kind of it they disappear, right? Because they're transparent, and sometimes the light will just kind of blow them out. Kind of do that right there. She's starting to come to life a little bit. It's a long time coming. It's probably like maybe 10 hours. But I really am feeling confident now. Some good things are happening. And, oh, so Dwayne says he's not sure. There's not much hockey out there in Cali. Yeah. Uh, so I can definitely see. Uh, but up there by Travis, right? You got a lot of hockey going on there. He thinks it would be awesome to start art on a large panel and ship it all over the U.S. to a bunch of artists and finish it, then sell it to chat. Oh, that's a great idea. That I would love to do. Definitely. Yeah, you know, in the past 4 months, I've been, you know, working with the Create Text line of paints, and it's really interesting, right? You know, the different applications of doing this, right? You get good at Wicked Paint, so that's another for people who haven't tried Wicked. You know, you can do a lot of things with it. So, Dwayne and Travis, tell me about Wicked. What can you paint on with Wicked? Uh, so, what are some of the craziest things you guys painted on, or what are some of the things that Wicked is perfect for painting on that, let's say, you couldn't do with other paints? So, uh, the mix of styles would be sweet. Very cool, right? Oh, so you guys going to do a collaboration. Oh, that's wild. So, and then remember what Mr. Drew Blair said in one of his articles, that in hair, hair next to a dark background is white, and next to a black background, no, next to a black background, hair is white. Next to white, it's black. And then anything in between, kind of in between that. So that was pretty cool. That kind of struck me when he said that, and that never left me when painting hair. When I come back, I'm going to kind of resolve the jeans a little bit here, do some touching up, and that's going to be it with this painting. So I think next week we should be done. So Travis says he used solvents, but whatever Create Text and solvent can mix all day long. Wow, that's cool. So, and that's what I want to do, you know, maybe do some commissions to work on guitars, you know, use my ability to do portraits. It would have to be portrait based, right? So maybe somebody would want a guitar, you know, who's a musician may want something uh, like maybe their favorite musician or something like that might be a good idea to kind of market, you know. Wow, these little hairs have really made a difference. Oh, Dwayne says he used House of Color candies with Wicked. Oh, that's great. I'm going to, in next one, I'm going to be using candies with the Wicked in my next portrait. So that's going to be interesting, guys. So I'm looking forward to working with the candies. I I love the idea of how transparent it is, right? Super transparent. And that's what I do with oils. You know, it's all about, uh, you know, Mr. Brad, he studies with me in oils as well as in airbrush. And we talk about how the knowledge of when to use an opaque and when to use a transparent. And there's nothing more transparent than than the uh, the candies. So I'm really interested in going that route. Here I'm going to kind of use this dark color. So you notice I got that dark reddish brown color. So now I'm coming in and really doing some nice detail since I have that color. Whenever you have a color, always try and use it before you go on to the next color. Try and do whatever you can with that color. So I think this week I'm going to do some brush technique on this, you know, on my downtime from doing other commissions and whatnot. And when we come back, we are going to work on the finishing touches of the background, and really, it's fun. I thought it was going to be 6, but I think we're going to be done in 5. And I'm going to work on this before bed tonight, maybe another hour after the live stream is over. Oh, so Shine says you can mix water base and solvent. Once it dries, you can clear over both. Wow, that's cool. So do you have to do, so I know in the painting world that you can't mix acrylic, water base, and oil paint. But is that not so in the airbrush world? I'd love to hear your thoughts because that's interesting that you could use both. That kind of breaks the rules. So anyone who's watching this on record, you can see above if you want to work with India Inks. I have some courses up there, that address up here, right? So take a look if you get a chance. Also, if you go there, you get there's a free course, a free PDF on how to have a setup that gives you a relaxing, successful airbrush session. So I think it's the top 5 things or 7 things. So that's pretty cool. And let's see. Tone says, video it and upload it. I will, definitely, my friend. Definitely. That's a good idea, so I'll do that. And Dwayne says, you just have to let them completely flash off before changing mediums. So meaning just let them cure, is that correct? Because I don't, so flash off is something I don't know about. But is that the same as curing or really solidly drying? And then Brad says, she's really looking great, Tim. Thanks for another great feed. Thank you so much, Brad, for the super chat. You're amazing, my friend. I appreciate you so much. And I hope you have a great night, sir. And flash off is cure completely. Oh, cool. Okay. Now that's interesting. So it's really cool that, you know, the airbrush world. And so is it different? Like, can you go water base, then using something like House of Color, or can you is it like, I guess what I'm asking, do you have to be in certain succession, right? I really love that she kind of has an attitude about her. Remember, she's Persephone, right? The goddess who accidentally ate the forbidden pomegranate fruit. And she lived originally in paradise her whole life. And since eating that forbidden fruit, she has to spend 6 months out of the year in the underworld. And I thought, what a great modern way of doing that. So Travis says you can't mix the paint together, but for example, you can spray blacks with Createx and do the highlights. Oh, I see. So you don't mix them together. You can paint on top of each other. Now that's cool as long as the bottom layer is dry, if I got that correct, guys. And you want the water gone in the water-based paint or thinner gone before applying the medium. Wow, that is so cool. So everybody, we hit 11:30. I thank you all for hanging out. You are all so amazing. Thank you so much, Dwayne, and for the super chat, and Dwayne and Shine, and thank you, Mr. Brad Mummery and Tone, for your great input as well. Let's see who else. Thank you so much for Mr. Patrick for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Honey, for the super chat. Dwayne, thank you again. Thank you, Brad, again. Thank you, Michael McClung, for the super chat. Mike Rushing, I appreciate you. You're all so generous to me, and you have really encouraged me today. And I just feel so much better hanging out with you. I just want you to know. Thanks, Tone, says nice feed, and I feel great hanging out with you, and I really look forward to hearing from you during the week in your posts on Facebook, email, and then also really looking forward to seeing you all next Wednesday. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for that, Mr. Dwayne, for the encouragement. You all have a great night, okay? God bless.